up right now. So I want to go ahead and bring on my partner, Kylie Dahl, as well as John Ostenson. John, how are you doing today?
Hey, Jeff, doing great. Happy to be here.
Wonderful. Glad to have you here.
Good morning, everybody.
Wonderful. I'm really excited about this. So we're talking today about the Business Wealth Summit. We're talking a little bit about you, John, and what you do and who you are. So why don't you go ahead and dive in really quickly and just give people a brief background about yourself and your business, FranBridge Consulting.
Absolutely. No, my background, I've been a franchisor. I am a multi-brand franchisee myself. And so I've lived on both sides of the table. And I've got my businesses are run by great people and allows me to spend most of my time serving in a capacity where I help other entrepreneurs and investors around the country get plugged in with the top franchise opportunities in their area. Now, when I say the F word franchise, people usually think fast food. But I live in a world and have created kind of a niche around businesses that are outside of food. It's what I call non-food franchising. So everything from health and wellness to property services to kids, pets, seniors, all these understandable, non-disruptible, Amazon type businesses, where we see more and more investors flocking every day, whether it be real estate investors or others with capital on the sideline, as they learn about these types of opportunities and the tax advantages and the benefits that come through it. We're seeing more interest than ever before.
Awesome. That's great. So, I have a question about, franchising in general, like you said, non-food franchising. And of course, everybody thinks of McDonald's and Burger King and, all these other ones out there. But one of the most successful individuals I've ever met when it came to running a business was a gentleman who ran a pet store franchise. And I thought it was really interesting because I think he had a 9-figure exit when he rolled up a bunch of pet stores and then sold that entire group off. Is that something you guys talk about and you see regularly, or maybe not to that level, but maybe you do? I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say, I think of a client of ours that has probably about a $40 million portfolio, from an income standpoint. You can probably sell it at a multiple of that, but he's the largest franchisee of 2 Men and a Truck moving service. But every year he comes to me and says, "Hey, John, what else are you seeing out there? I'm ready to get into something new." And so as he's continued to build up like 12 markets of that business, he's diversified his portfolio with other franchises and now owns, I think, 6 brands across 30 territories, primarily in the property services arena as well as the waste management arena. So I'd say that's a good kind of case study example. Most of our clients are in the process of building up to that point. So I'd say, the 9-figure exits, we don't personally see as often. That being said, a lot of private equity is getting involved, largely at the franchisor level. Sometimes they'll come in and scoop up a bunch of franchisees. You think of Orange Theory or others. But oftentimes they're investing strategic capital at that franchisor level, building out a platform of shared services that they can leverage between their different holdings.
Awesome. And so when somebody wants to get into franchising in the first place, not as a franchisor necessarily, but as a franchisee, what are some of the hurdles that people run into when they start going down this path and thinking about it? Because we know at the Business Wealth Summit, we're talking about, hey, don't start a business, buy a business, right? And a franchise is a great way to get into that world.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think a lot of the characteristics of an existing business resale are, can be applied to the franchise system too, just the support on the sidelines and the, the fact that you're starting on third base, right? I mean, there's product market fit's already been proven out. You've got a playbook to go execute against. You've got that supporting built-in team on the sideline. And, I'll say, Jeff, just like any industry, I mean, there's strong players and there are not so strong players, within franchising. And that's where we come in to try to help our clients identify the strongest ones that could be a good fit for them. But I'd say from a hurdle standpoint, for some capital it could be a hurdle, but most of our clients don't run into that issue. It's more, I'd say territory availability is our biggest challenge. I mean, right now there's a growing awareness and we see more and more investors flocking to franchising. As a result, great markets like Atlanta, where I am, or Austin, or Denver, or Salt Lake City, Tampa, these markets are flying, with these businesses. So we're always working, trying to position our clients at the front of the pecking order for, the latest opportunities coming down the chute. So I'd say the other trap that people fall into is just doing a lot of Googling, because every brand out there is going to be putting forward their best marketing foot. And, it's really important to understand behind the scenes what's going on, who is that leadership team, what's their background, what are their differentiators, how's the financial model work. So I'd say really taking a comprehensive view, not getting too excited at the first thing, serves people well.
Awesome. So I have one more question. I'll let Kylie ask, because I know she has questions too. So when we're talking about buying a franchise or buying a territory, a master territory, anything like that, one of the biggest, I think, questions that people will have who have never done this before, especially, is, okay, it's great if I have the capital, or even if they can syndicate a deal and they can put the capital together and they can buy the franchise. But, these are generally people that, have either exited their own business, have had a business in the past, they've got money somehow, maybe they're even retired. They don't want to run another business. So what do you tell folks in that space that maybe they've never, started or owned their own business in the first place? And this idea of, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy something, then I have to go run it, probably scares them off before they even go too far down the path.
Yeah. And it's not the right fit for everyone. But I do think when you step back and you really understand how it can be done, it opens up the door to a lot more investors. I have investors that say, hey, my son is coming of age, my daughter's coming of age, they could go run the business. Or, I know someone in the community, in my church, through a neighbor that, is looking for something new and has fire in the belly, and someone I could, incentivize in a way that's going to go make them run the business, with my best interest in mind. So I'd say that's very common, is, finding that built-in operator. There are definitely franchise systems that allow themselves to be a little more passive. I never want to sugarcoat it. It takes a lot of work to stand up a business, right? Especially early on, you're leaning in. Are we still there, Jeff?
Yep. Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, I apologize. I had a notification on my side. So I don't want to sugarcoat it. It does take a lot of work to stand up a business. Granted, it is very much shortcutted if you have a strong franchisor on the sideline, again, supporting you, helping you start on third base, to be cliche. And they're supporting that manager. So, I had a client last week that came to us that we've done multiple franchise deals together the last couple of years. Well, he's a C-level executive for a smaller company, but he travels a good bit. And he puts a manager in place. He incentivizes them. He leans in early on, and then he kind of steps back and, doesn't breathe down their neck. So, it comes down to having a good operator and a good franchise system. But the nice thing is on a daily basis, that operator isn't going to him for support or their basic questions. They're going to the franchisor's team. So it does allow you to do two or more things at once.
Beautiful. Wonderful. Kylie, do you have anything to add or any questions?
I do. So, when I was in commercial real estate, it was always interesting. I had to find the appetite to the investor. Like, what kind of appetite did they have? For example, firefighters, they were awesome with multifamily because they had lots of time. Do you also find that you kind of have like an interview process with your investors to try to figure out what's that appetite look like? So I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
100%. No, we have an intake process, but we keep it very streamlined. I mean, the investors that we work with don't have a lot of time, for the exploratory process early on either. They want to see opportunities. They want to know, if you're in my shoes, what are the 10 opportunities I should be looking at in my market? So we very much get them to that point of reviewing actual opportunities fairly quickly. And, but we do start off with a conversation, and we have them, kind of fill out a profile where, we need to understand, we work with a lot of doctors, we work with a lot of attorneys, other high-paying W-2s that aren't looking to leave their job. We work with a lot of existing business owners. And so, I've been very blessed to do a whole lot of placements the last couple of years. So I get to see kind of firsthand what's going on, with different backgrounds, what's resonating with them, what's worked well for them, or what if they had to spend more time on, sometimes, learning from that. So we are able to kind of identify, I'd say that's a key piece that you hit on, is how much availability do you have and do you want to put into a business? And, is it important that you're passionate about the business? I've got doctors that say, hey, I'd love to stay in health and wellness. I've got other doctors that say, hey, I'd like to do something outside of health and wellness, stretch my mind and intellectual capabilities, around dumpsters or gutters or some widget, that they could understand, but don't have any background in.
Right. That makes sense. I'm really excited for this talk. I know that Jeff's got you guys are going to have some awesome questions, and I know that we're just going to be able to tease a lot more out of you at our event.
Yeah. And one of the things I'm really excited about, John, we're bringing a group of veterans to the event as well. And so we talk about, finding great operators. And one of the things we found is that veterans can be amazing operators. Maybe they're not the person with the capital, the person that's done this before, but we do know they have the operational fortitude to run a small company or a single location. So we're really excited about that match and that fit and just having those conversations. So John, really excited to have you at the Business Well Summit. Is there anything else you want to add and let folks know before they go out there and get their tickets?
Yeah, I would just second that. Military backgrounds. Franchising, it has a huge heart for the military, and it's very thankful for their service. And they'll provide some small discounts on the front end, but I think just that operational executing on a playbook mentality that so many in the military have, does bode well in the in this world. And yeah, for anyone coming to Nashville, we'd love to share a free copy of our book, Non-Food Franchising. It can serve as a good primer to kind of get the juices flowing. And yeah, really looking forward to a great conversation in Nashville.
Beautiful. Wonderful, John. I'm really looking forward to having you there as well. So we dropped the link in the chat for everybody. So if you haven't gotten your ticket yet, be sure to go get those. They are going fast. There is limited seating for this event. We're really excited to have John and a number of other speakers talking about how you can build wealth with businesses at the Business Wealth Summit in Nashville, happening May 29th through 31st at the Factory at Franklin. So again, go get your tickets today. John, thanks so much for being here. We really appreciate it.
Enjoyed it. Thanks, guys.